Hey, first things first, listeners. Jeff Schwartz here to tell you about my new show, The Big Boys Club Draft Academy, a show centered around some of the best offensive linemen in the 2021 NFL Draft. It's airing tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1, with full episodes airing on foxsports.com and YouTube directly after the show. Now, back to the show.
The Lakers got back in the win column last night, but can they repeat with this version of Anthony Davis?
Does it count?
The Green Bay Packers made another commitment to Aaron Rodgers. Are the guys buying it, though? Not sure they are. And should the New England Patriots move up in the draft to grab Justin Fields? Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolfe alongside Nick Wright, Brandon Marshall, and Kevin Wildes. Sir, I want to talk to you, Kevin Wildes. Look at your plethora of possibilities at quarterback. Now you got Cam, maybe Jimmy G, maybe Justin Fields. You got to be a happy guy this morning.
Oh, just like having 3 children. I love them all equally. I don't want to choose, Jenna.
Oh, but you might have to. On television, we make you choose.
You have to.
And Nick chooses amongst his kids all the time. We are 2 days away from that NFL draft. Biggest question mark. Stop saying that, Nick. Stop saying that. 2 days away from the draft. We got to talk about the 49ers. 49ers spend a ton of capital to move up to that 3 spot, right? To draft a quarterback, seemingly perplexing since quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who got them to the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago, still on the roster. So a lot of questions for head coach Kyle Shanahan now. Take a listen to this.
We made a decision in this process that we felt we needed to get a starting quarterback this year and add that to our team. And when we sit there at 12 way back in the day, and we wanted to dictate it. And we also were worried maybe the one we end up winning doesn't fall to 12. When we made this decision, we knew that there were 5 guys that we felt that we'd be okay with taking. We knew that there was 3 at the time exactly. That's why we thought 3 was a good spot to go to. After going through this whole process, I feel good about 5 guys at 3. Do we know exactly who we want? Maybe, probably, but maybe not. I don't feel like we need to say that.
Nick, I have to imagine. Nick has been all over this head scratcher of an offseason the 49ers have had. What do you make of what Kyle Shanahan had to say, Nick?
That line right there at the end reminded me of the famous scene early in the movie The Departed, where Mark Wahlberg is asked if he has any undercover agents inside Costello's operation. He's like, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe go bleep yourself, but I'm not talking about it. It's like, all right, Kyle, geez Louise, buddy. We're just here asking about the draft. Like, calm down. So listen, he knows who they're taking. And I don't know if we have, you guys can tell me in my ear if we do, have the John Lynch sound. But John Lynch was asked about the quarterback and who they're going to take. And John Lynch had a very interesting answer that we can play for you quickly here.
I told Kyle from the beginning that he and I are doing this together. And when it comes to quarterbacks, I'd be foolish, I believe. We have a head coach who's also our offensive play caller. I will always defer to him. And, what's cool about that is that Kyle, I think, respects my opinion enough. He always wants it.
So that is John Lynch, I think, kind of washing his hands of this decision for good or for bad. What it is, John Lynch, to me, had the most interesting and telling moment there, and it was what we just played, which was him saying, hey, Kyle's going to pick the quarterback. And if you're a Niners fan, it's going to make you a little anxious, because back in 2017, when they could have drafted Mahomes or could have drafted Watson, Peter King was in the draft room. And reported right after that draft, there was one quarterback in the entire draft class Kyle Shanahan liked. C.J. Beathard, which is why a guy who people thought was going to go in the 7th round went in the 3rd round, because Kyle Shanahan liked him. So where I have changed a bit is this, Brandon. I do think now it's Mac Jones, because I think Kyle Shanahan, it's his call, it's his pick. I think that's his guy, and we will see if it works out. But they might feel good about 5 quarterbacks, Brandon, but they know who the quarterback is, and it's going to be Kyle Shanahan's decision. I think we learned that yesterday.
Well, Nick, listen, I don't know if you watched the entire thing, but that press conference was 30 minutes. It was entertaining. It was a drama. Did you watch all 30 minutes? It was so telling. After those 30 minutes, I walked away believing that it was Trey Lance, the guy that we're talking to at 9 a.m. this morning. That's what I walked away with. You know, he talked about there was 3 guys, and we all knew that. We knew that there was 3 guys in this draft, and all these other guys started running up the board. We knew Trevor Lawrence was going 1. We knew about Justin Fields. We knew about Zach Wilson. But we weren't talking about Trey Lance. We were talking about him at the end of the first and potentially a second rounder. Mac Jones, nobody was talking about Mac Jones. So I respect their process. I do believe you fall in love with a guy from watching film because there's so many ways to evaluate guys. You go out to practice. You turn on the tape, and then you start sitting down with them. You get on these Zoom calls, you start questioning, you start testing them, and I believe some guys start moving around. He said all 5 guys. There's another thing he said while I was in the press conference. Well, all 5 guys throughout this process have gotten better. I don't believe that. I believe that there's guys like Trey Lance that really impressed them and they're falling in love with. So do they have their answer now? Probably. But did they know that a couple weeks ago? I don't believe so. I think they were working their process in a process that I respect.
Okay, so I don't think anybody got better. I'm not sure if anybody changed their minds. The one interesting thing about that press conference was it felt like the dynamic between Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch was being worked out in public. And we know if this was The Wire, you know the first thing you do, take them into separate rooms. And then you have McNulty asking John Lynch, like, hey, I heard you want Mac Jones. What? Who said it? Oh, Kyle said he wanted Mac Jones. If you separated those guys and asked them who they really wanted, I do not think they would come up with the same answer. And Nick, I think that's the reason why we've had so much indecision and cloudiness around this pick.
I think that's right.
All right. I'm going to jump in here because I wanted to talk about 2 things. A, did not know Nick Nolte was in The Wire. Love Nick Nolte. I'm going to have to jump on that. I know it's not a new show. Don't say Nick. And 2, the other big angle here.
Jenna,
the other big angle here
not Nick Nolte.
Is the team's plans.
Not Nick Nolte.
Okay. I heard it wrong. I'm trying to follow along. There's so much going on. Jimmy Garoppolo. So what does his future in San Francisco look like? So who did you say? All right. Shanahan was asked if he'll be on the roster come Sunday. Jimmy G, obviously. Oh, take a listen to this. I screwed that up.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us. When you take a rookie quarterback and you have a veteran like Jimmy, who we know we can win with, just to move on from that is something that it's not easy to do.
No, it's not. So, Brandon, how should Jimmy Garoppolo feel after all of this? Because he's watching and reading and everything that we are, and he knows basically what their plans are.
Well, listen. This whole press conference was weird. You have to go back and watch it from start to finish. I mean, John Lynch opens up and he's talking about, the 400 Zooms. He's giving us numbers that we don't want to hear, and then at the top when they were questioning and Kyle Shanahan, they're asking him the same question 3 or 4 times. What's going on with Jimmy G? What quarterback? So he got frustrated, and that was the statement that he threw out there. So you got to watch it, man. It was super entertaining, but I mean, he slipped up. He shouldn't have said that. It seemed like he got frustrated. Like, did you not hear me the first 3-4 times when you asked me that question and I answered it about what we're doing with Jimmy G, what we're doing at the quarterback position? But here's the deal. Where is Jimmy G, Nick? Where is he at? I went on his IG. He hasn't posted since 2020. I mean, we haven't seen any type of, pictures or anything coming out as far as like he's on an island somewhere. Right. Where's Jimmy G? Can we hear from Jimmy G? Because if I'm Jimmy G right now, I'm in a huddle with my agents, with my advisors, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell to get out of San Francisco. But I need to hear from Jimmy G.
Well, Well, yeah, I think he's being radio silent strategically because he's plotting, where he wants his next move to be, because obviously it's not San Francisco. And as much as Wildes loves quarterback wins, Kyle Shanahan doesn't. Kyle Shanahan is head coach of the Niners, is 24-9 with Jimmy G starting, 7-27 with everybody else, and he doesn't care about that. I understand some people do. Kyle Shanahan does not. My thing that I want to toss to Wildes is this. I think the Niners have misplayed this part of it, because the quarterback market, the trade market for Jimmy G, all of a sudden is going to be quite cool. I can only come up with 4 teams that we can confidently say need a quarterback: New England, Chicago, Washington, and Denver. Every other team either just took a chance on a guy like Wentz or brought in a guy like Darnold, or they are definitely unequivocally drafting a guy this year. And New England and Chicago might take themselves off the list by drafting a guy this year. So we're at a maximum of 4 teams, maybe only 3 in a few days, that are going to even want Jimmy G. So I do think he's going to be available for a second-round pick or a late first-round pick, because I think they waited too long for the game of quarterback musical chairs to finish up, and almost everybody ended up with a seat, even if it's not a great one, Wildes.
Yeah, he's coming back to New England for a second-round pick or a third-round pick or some combination thereof. And Brandon, I think that he's quiet because he knows he's out of there. And it's not because he's been disrespected. It's not because his feelings were hurt. It's not because Kyle Shanahan can't guarantee that he'll even be alive this weekend. It's because he is not set up to succeed in San Francisco. The investment, the money, the time, the energy is going to this number 3 pick, whoever it may be. That is not set up well for Jimmy G to succeed. It's all about the number 3 pick, and he should pack his bags and head out first thing in the morning. Maybe right now. Maybe before the show is over.
Yeah, the bag should have already been packed.
Check his watch. Hey, last time the Niners picked a QB in round 1, the recently retired Alex Smith, first overall, 05. See if that changes Thursday. Talk about the Patriots, the aforementioned Patriots, what their plans are going to be come Thursday night. That's next. First things first. My guy, Nick Nolte, big fan, will draw in a blank. Head up to Green Bay, where the Packers GM doubled down on their love for Aaron Rodgers yesterday. Said Aaron's, quote, going to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future. Hey, Brandon, Brian Gutekunst's comments on Aaron Rodgers are blank.
Brian, come on. Duh, we all know that. For some reason, you guys thought he was done. You thought, I don't know if it's because of the relationship with the organization and the new head coach. Things started off a little choppy there. Age, status quo, something that you guys may have seen in practice. So you guys go out there and you go draft Jordan Love in the first round. And what does he do? How does he follow up, Nick? He goes out there and have the most efficient year he's ever had and another MVP year. And now this guy wants to get paid and he wants a commitment. So, duh, we all know this. It's hard to find a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You are stuck, and you have to listen to all of his demands, Nick.
Yeah, these comments are hollow because there has been no action to follow them. They could have, A, extended Aaron Rodgers. They could have, B, restructured his deal, which Rodgers doesn't even contractually have a say in order to tie Rodgers to the team longer, as far as effectively longer, or C, traded Jordan Love. They did none of the above. Instead, he gives out nebulous quotes. He's going to be our QB for the foreseeable future. Gutekunst, by the way, should check in with Kyle Shanahan, who says, hey, it might be Pompeii around here in 96 hours. We all could be dead. So it is silly comments that have no basis in any action. So I say it rings hollow, Wildes.
Good Pompeii reference. Trade Jordan Love. My answer is let's make a deal. Call up Denver and just trade Jordan Love. We know John Elway needs a quarterback. We know Jordan Love has been stashed away. His draft value and stock is not rising, sitting on the bench for another year. Go 2 years without taking a snap. So trade Jordan Love to Denver and move on. Make Aaron Rodgers happy before he starts hosting Jeopardy full time.
All right, let's head to Kansas City. New Chiefs offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. talked a little bit yesterday about protecting his quarterback, his new quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. He said this, shouldn't have to run around because of me. So, Brandon, Orlando Brown Jr.'s comments were blank.
Yeah, I thought about this long and hard. I mean, you know, who was probably most excited about this, hearing this? This is probably Mama Mahomes, Miss Randy, new Mama Brittany. You got Patrick's fiance that just had a baby girl who already, by the way, has a scholarship to Texas A&M for soccer. But this is music to Mama's ears. She doesn't want to see her baby getting beat and brutalized like he did in the Super Bowl and sometimes in the playoffs. That was criminal, Nick. So Mama right now, Miss Randy, and new Mama, Miss Brittany, they're so excited because their baby, Patrick Mahomes, is going to be standing upright. And he's probably going to have another MVP year. So music to Mama's ears.
Okay. All right, settle down. Everybody relax. It's an accurate statement. You guys got you bolstered your offensive line. Congratulations. We won't be able to sack Patrick Mahomes ad nauseum in the Super Bowl. It was criminal. It was just a great game plan by Todd Bowles. But go ahead, Nick. Here we go. Here, get ready, everybody, for Chiefs Minute.
Tampa Bay Bucks defense fan, Kevin Wildes. All right, everybody, put on your thinking caps real quick. A quick lesson in Greek mythology, because the answer here is like Apollo. Why Apollo? Apollo was the son of Zeus. Why does that matter? Orlando Brown Jr. Who's his dad? Orlando Brown Sr. Famously, unfortunately, got hit in the eye by an NFL flag, derailed his career briefly, but his name was Zeus. So I did a little reading. I'm like, okay, if Zeus is his dad, he's Apollo. What is Apollo famous for? Well, he's the god of healing. You know what he's going to heal? My soul after that Super Bowl loss. The God of justice. You know why that matters? Because as Mark Schlereth would say, he's going to be dispensing justice on the offensive line all year long. And most importantly, Apollo, the son of Zeus, is the God of prophecy. And he's not going to have to run around because of me. That is a prophecy, my friends. So welcome to the team, Apollo. That's what I want to call him from now on. He's Apollo. He's the son of Zeus. And he's going to do all those things. And Kevin Wildes referring to the Tampa Bay Bucks as "we" is one of the most disgusting things that has ever happened on sports television. It is repugnant. Patriot fans should kick him out of their club. I want all that on the record stated, Jenna. Fired up this morning.
Okay, Nick
Fired up. Wow.
Nick can talk about everything but carry the one. There's nothing to say. And nothing to follow that. Literally nothing. We're up in New England where, according to a report, Bill Belichick is trying to find a way to trade up. Maybe into the top 10. Possibly targeting Justin Fields should the Ohio State quarterback fall. So Brandon, Belichick drafting Fields would have the rest of the NFL feeling blank.
Wow, 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 wow. This is, I got to go with not again. I mean, we just saw him run off 20 years with Tom Brady. And I truly believe, man, and I hate to say this, but this guy is sliding. The Jets seems to be locked in with Zach Wilson. And I believe the 49ers at the 3 pick are looking at Trey Lance.
News.
So they're going to have their shot. It is news. What are you talking about? Look at this kid. And that's why I had to go with not again, because you have Bill Belichick. If Bill Belichick, your guy KW, has a little bit left in the tank, they can go dominate the NFL for another 10 years. Because this dude is brilliant. He shouldn't be sliding. He should be going number 2 to the Jets.
Yeah, listen.
Not again. That's the answer.
The Belichick drafting Justin Fields would have the rest of the NFL feeling irritated for all the reasons Brandon just said. They're supposed to be out in the quarterback wilderness after 20 years of the GOAT, and instead, because a great player might slide, they could be pulled out of the wilderness. But I'm very interested to hear Kevin Wildes' answer, because he's, as we just learned 60 seconds ago, he's not a Patriots fan. So as just a neutral football observer that leans to we, the Tampa Bay Bucks, what do you think of this, Kevin Wildes? I'm very interested.
Okay, time out. If we're going to go, Nick, if you do I work for that poker show, Poker After Dark? Do I work for that show? Am I on that show?
No.
Do I know anyone involved in that show? No, I don't.
No.
But you know what? someone I care for went over there, and my heart went with them. And that was you, my friend. So the same thing that happens when former Patriots go to the Bucs. My heart travels with them. That's all. So if Jenna, if the Charge is having a heart that's too big and too loving, well, you know what? Lock me up and throw away the key. My answer is speculation C. No one knows what the Patriots are going to do. We're all captains on the speculation C. And I'm not going to say who said this. The names are withheld to protect the innocent. But last year there was a report that said, quote, everyone knows the Patriots are taking a quarterback. This was pre-Cam Newton. And we didn't. And then everyone looks like it's Jarrett Stidham's job. The starting job is in. And he wasn't. We're all out here on speculation C. No one knows what Belichick is going to do besides the small dog who actually makes the picks in the draft.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, we'll wrap that one up. Talk a little baseball. Wilds has some weird and wonderful, but first, how about the show that Shohei Ohtani put on last night? Struck out 9 over 5 on the mound, got the win at the dish, 2 RBI, 3 runs scored. Man's on fire lately. Not wonderful enough, though, for Kevin Wilds. What do you got for us, buddy?
Oh, Bryce Harper has seen how popular Dude Perfect is when they're always doing weird trick shots. So Bryce Harper says, you know what? I'll give it a shot. In batting practice, he hits a ball. I don't know why another ball is flying through there. Maybe they're practicing outfield pop-ups or something. But a collision in the balls, Bryce Harper's like, oh, I cannot believe it. And Jenna's like, how long did it take him to do that? I said, Jenna, come on. It's a great odd coincidence in baseball. Moving on to the wonderful. We're going to have a combination baseball-football play here. Twins-Indians, Brent Rooker hits a home run, and a fan makes a wonderful catch. Who's that fan out there? Oh, it's Baker Mayfield. Not really. It's just a guy in a Baker jersey. Some people on the internet are calling him Fake Mayfield, or better yet, Faker Mayfield. For the record, Baker Mayfield in his NFL career has 1 catch for 6 yards. So if you want to give him a shot, he sure can catch the ball, or at least his doppelganger can. And finally, the weird. Everyone talks about after you hit a home run, you do a bat flip. How about this? Talking trash before you hit the home run. Why don't you do some of these bat flips before you even get up at the plate? Really, look at this one. Boom. Oh. So that's your weird. My recommendation to Phillies, start doing this stuff before you get up at bat. Really intimidate the pitcher.
Yeah, but he dropped the bat. You just can't drop the bat. You look foolish.
That's right. That's right. That guy nailed it.
Let's talk some Lakers. Lakers back in the win column last night, but can they repeat as champs with this version of Anthony Davis
win column
that we saw? We'll discuss that.
Didn't Orlando Magic trade everybody away? Please.
In just 4 days, don't miss the return of former heavyweight champ Andy Ruiz. It all goes down Saturday, live on pay-per-view. That's it.
It's a real boxer right here. Andy.
Back here with NBA champ Antonio Daniels. Antonio, let's talk about the Lakers. They were in Orlando last night, and what should have been an easy win against a bad Magic team. Instead, it took a rally in the fourth for the Lakers to just eke out a win. Anthony Davis no longer on a minutes restriction. Put up 18 points, said after the game the team's still trying to figure things out and that he's not quite where he wants to be. Take a listen to this.
I'm happy I was able to find my rhythm a little bit, but still not the AD that I want to be, and I'm pretty sure that the fans definitely seen a better AD. So it's gonna come, come with time. But like I say, as long as I can, find a rhythm while we're getting wins, it's more important.
All right, Antonio, let me start with you. What version of Anthony Davis do the Lakers need if they're going to repeat?
Well, the simple answer, Jenna, is a healthy one. That's the easiest way that I can put it. Obviously, with Brooklyn doing what they're doing in the East, with the amount of firepower that they have, and the Clippers being the Clippers, and Phoenix making a run with now a game manager and Chris Paul, and Utah having the best record in the year and the best role-based team in the NBA right now, I think the easiest answer to that question would be the best version of Anthony Davis that the Lakers need to have is a healthy version.
Antonio, I'm sorry, man. I got to push back on you. They need more than a healthy AD. They need the AD from the bubble, the AD that made me believe he could be the #1 basketball player in the world this year, the AD that made me believe that LeBron James will catch MJ. We haven't seen that. You go back to the numbers in last year, and Nick, I'm not a numbers guy. This is the lane you live in. But you got to go back to last year regular season. There was an uptick in his numbers from the regular season to postseason. That's why we all said, oh, he has arrived. Yep. He has emerged. That big shot that he made, that was his shot. It was like he's finally going to get over the hump, and now he's transcended into stardom. But what happened after the bubble? Those numbers went down. And it's not about, his field goal percentage. It's not about what he's done from three. The one that's most telling is from the free throw line. Nick, how do you go from 85% shooting at the free throw line to 71%? And the reason why that's telling is because this slump is real. When you are an 80% shooter from the free throw line, when you're 70 and playing in the YMCA, you're still an 80% free throw shooter. Something's really going on with AD. Laker Nation needs to be concerned because what he's doing right now, he's just a big body out there. He brings you some presence on the defensive side. He'll give you a few rebounds. But you need LeBron and AD to be sensational on the offensive end if they really want to compete at a high level.
Yeah, so I think the last part there was a little unfair. Before he got hurt, he was averaging 24 a night. I mean, he's not just a body out there, but he was not. Right. I agree with you, Brandon, that there was the thought he was going to jump another level from like that fringe top 5, 6, 7 in the world to competing with LeBron for best in the world. And instead, he went from top 5, 6, 7 to probably 10, 11, 12 is how he was playing early in the season. Luckily, Antonio, for the Lakers, they're going to need Anthony Davis for 5 games. They need Anthony Davis for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals against the Clippers when they're up 2-1, and they're going to need Anthony Davis for Games 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Finals. That's it. LeBron will take care of the rest. They will beat Denver in round 1 if Anthony Davis didn't play. They will annihilate Utah in round 2 if Anthony Davis didn't play. Wow. The Clippers, credit to them for fixing some of their problems, and they will, and I think they are a real contender this year, unlike last year, and they will need Anthony Davis for at least 1 game in that series to win them a game. And then in the finals, whether it is Milwaukee, Philly, or Brooklyn, all 3 of those teams, you are either going to need Anthony Davis to deal with Embiid, need Anthony Davis to deal with Giannis, or need Anthony Davis with Brooklyn to exploit that they don't have a big. So you're going to need him through the finals. LeBron will take care of the rest. So I do need Anthony Davis to get back to the form we have seen, but that's to win the title. That's not to get to the Western Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals.
I don't think we're giving the teams out the West enough credit. I don't think we're giving Utah enough credit. I don't think we're giving Phoenix enough credit. I don't think we're giving the Clippers enough credit to actually say, and I get it, but to actually say that, you know what, all you need is Anthony Davis for 1 game against these teams, I don't think that's giving these teams their due credit. LeBron is fantastic. LeBron is fantastic. I get that. But to say, you know what, all you need is a healthy LeBron without a healthy Anthony Davis, and these 2 guys to be clicking on all cylinders to beat the Utah Jazz, to beat the LA Clippers, to beat the Phoenix Suns, I can't get on board with that.
I can see it. I can see it, Antonio.
All right, Antonio, I do want to bring up Zion. Zion Williamson had 23 points last night in a win over the Clippers. But it was former NBA great Charles Oakley's comments on Zion making headlines this morning. That's what we're talking about. Because Oakley said this. He said, quote, I think Julius Randle's a better version of Zion to me because he can do more. Zion's just hype in the league, but in the playoffs, he'll be just like the Greek Freak. They'll have the wall for you. First of all, Zion Williamson got to get to the playoffs. So, Antonio, you call Pelicans games. You know Zion well. You see him up and close. What do you make of the comparison?
I don't understand the comparison. I don't. You're talking about 2 players that only compare in size, the fact that they both were first-year All-Stars this year and are both left-handed. That's it. when you look at their skill sets and what they do, the way they play the game, the way that they approach the game, there are two completely different basketball players. And this is always a tough discussion to have because it's almost like if I'm crediting Zion, then I'm discrediting Julius Randle. Or if I'm crediting Julius Randle, then I'm discrediting Zion. These two are both fantastic players, but you're comparing a guy who has been in this league for a lengthy amount of time, who has played over 400 games, to a guy that's only played 80 games. He played his 80th game last night. So yeah, I get the whole, I don't grasp the concept of the comparison though. And we were talking about that prior too. I don't see where this is coming from outside of the fact that so much is being made about Zion because we were just in Madison Square Garden about a week ago. That's the only reason. If Julius Randle is playing in Orlando or if Julius Randle is playing in Cleveland, we are not having this discussion right now.
That's right. Antonio, I think you were 100% right, but I think Charles Oakley was about 50% right. And I think the 50% part that he was right about was that you'll be able to stop Zion if he makes it to the playoffs. And what was most interesting to me, Nick, was you saying how dynamic of a scorer Julius Randle is. If we can show the full screen here. And this stat shocked me, that Zion has only made 16 points, 16 shots outside of the paint. Nick, I was shocked by that. So I think that Oakley is saying, look, these guys are both good. One is probably underhyped. One may be overhyped. And this is Charles Oakley. One guy is driving his team to the playoffs. One guy isn't. And when you get to the playoffs, he's going to be treated like Giannis and put a wall in front of him, like take away those buckets. And he's going to be less effective a scorer versus Julius Randle, who can hit from mid-range and hit from three. So I think Charles Oakley was halfway right, Nick.
Okay, he was 0% of the way right, and I don't even want to talk about Zion here. Zion is having one of the most efficient seasons in the history of the league. The guy was a superstar from the moment we saw him in high school in South Carolina. He was a superstar at Duke. He was the best player on a great team there. He's been awesome every step of his career. I need to now be the bad guy on the Knicks and Julius Randle. And you might want to take Antonio off the screen because I don't want him to catch shrapnel when this goes on the internet and people think he's co-signing it. But folks, stop pretending that Julius Randle is anything other than what he is, which is a nice story and a good player. Julius Randle is an MVP candidate. Well, I don't know. If we're going to have 12 MVP candidates, I suppose, because off the top of my head, who's ahead of him? Well, Jokic is, Embiid is, I would argue CP3 is, Steph definitely is, Kawhi is, Giannis is, Luka is, Dame is, Harden's injured, he's ahead of him, LeBron's injured, he's ahead of him. Okay, that's 10. You want to go after 10 and include Julius Randle, who I get it, Knick fans, you're excited. You have a legitimate chance this year to win your second playoff series this millennia. But you are currently sitting with the same record as the Hawks. And what is happening right now in basketball media with Julius Randle is the player version of what happened 6 weeks ago with the Jazz, where everyone was like, I'm going to prove to the smart basketball folks that I'm not a casual. I'm going to explain how I love the way the ball pops with the Jazz extra pass. And now that is the Julius Randle discussion. Now it's, oh my God, Julius Randle, he's up to 6 assists a game. Did you know? Yeah, we know. He's also 20th in the league in points and 38th in PER and the best player on a mediocre team. Stop it. Everybody stop acting like they think Julius Randle can be the best or even the second best player on a contender. No one believes that. They just act like that. And Antonio, they compare him to Zion, who will win multiple MVPs. And it's like, oh, I'd rather have Julius Randle. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. I can't deal with it anymore. I can't deal with the Knicks. I can't. I'm sorry. My rant's over, but it's enough. It's enough.
Let me kick back on you. Can I fire back really fast? Okay, first, I disagree with you about Julius Randle in the MVP discussion. I do disagree with you about that. We have to give him credit for what he's done. And again, I don't like having these debates because what happens is we are talking great about one, which means we're discrediting the other. But I will say this about Zion. and I have said this about day one. I can eliminate Julius Randle from the conversation. Last year, when I got here, from day one, I watched every single practice from training camp on until Zion got hurt, and then after. And I said at that time, I remember going on the radio with you, Nick, and saying, this dude is one of one in the history of the sport. I have never seen anything like it. Rick Carlisle, what Rick Carlisle said about him, he said he's a Shaq force of nature with a point guard skill set. Let that marinate for a minute. A Shaq force of nature with a point guard skill set. I've never seen anything like it. But what happens is we forget the fact that Zion's he played his 80th game last night. We aren't talking about a guy that is a finished product, a guy that's 6 or 7 years in. We are talking about a guy that's played 80 games in 3 different stints.
And the Giannis stuff is unfair because Giannis is so much older, has so much more experience, and the same thing has happened to him in the playoffs multiple times. But, hey, listen, because I know NBA Twitter is going to kill me, Brandon. Folks, I watch the league.
No, they're not.
I watch the league enough that I watched Julius Randle, forget as a Laker, as a Pelican. And guess what? Here's how his game has changed. He takes more threes now, and he's a better three-point shooter. He's actually slightly less efficient around the rim than he was as a Pelican. And he plays 8 more minutes a game, so his numbers have jumped. That's it. This idea that the Knicks are now some pseudo-fringe contender, no one actually believes it, Brandon. It's make-believe.
Right. Hey, Nick, Twitter isn't going to kill you. They know it. They see it. They understand it. What they will say, though, is why'd you get worked up off of what Charles Oakley said? Uncle Charles is on the golf course with MJ, the GOAT, puffing on stogies. He's not watching basketball. We know this. Zion is in year 2, Jenna, and this guy, Julius Randle, took him 7 years to get to a point where he's averaging 23 points. Zion did that last year. Zion this year is averaging 27 points. So it's not even a discussion. And, Nick, you got worked up off of Uncle Charles's comments from the golf course. Right. Come on, man.
You might be right. You might be right.
Let us let all that marinate. Nick will take a breath. We'll get ready to hand out some NBA medals from last night. Devin Booker, what a night. 33 and a good win over the surging Knicks. But Book just missing out on a medal. Nick, who did it better than Devin Booker?
Well, Book had the more impressive stat line, but if you watched the game, America, Chris Paul gets the bronze for, hey, look, the Knicks playing a real contender with an actual MVP candidate, and he ate their soul down the stretch. I think 9 straight points, including that one, to win the game for him. Chris Paul gets the bronze. Silver medalist. We try not to give out medals to teams that lose, but it was overtime. It was a great game. Bradley Beal, 45 points. The Wizards' red-hot winning streak ends, but he gets 45. Not a lot of defense. My God, did the Nets play in that game? 146-143, the Bradley Beal. And then on the winning side of things, DeMar DeRozan, 37-10. Shout out to DeMar. He's been excellent for the Spurs this year and getting them fringe-ish playoff team. He gets the gold. So there it is, Antonio, my medals for yesterday. Kind of a sleepier statistical day in the NBA.
So here's my question. What is the criteria for your medals? How does this work? Because it's obviously not with wins, with Bradley Beal actually being there.
His criteria is this.
I mean, 45 in an overtime loss, he qualifies.
Right.
45 in overtime loss, he qualifies.
I'm just asking.
Wiles, who just missed out on the cut last night?
The human version of Wilson, the volleyball with Tom Hanks, still left on Cleveland Castaway Island. Kevin Love does not seem too enthused to be a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's like, I'm out of here. Was that a bucket? I don't know if this was a real inbound pass or not, but either way, Kevin Love, not the most enthusiastic play in NBA history, and for that, he earned just missed the cut.
Hey, we got to get ready for a draft. It's Thursday night. Let's preview a few things. Are Jimmy G's days numbered in San Francisco? We'll discuss that next. First things first. Back here with 4-time Pro Bowler Michael Vick. We're talking about the 49ers and the decision they're about to make with that 3rd pick in Thursday's draft. Head coach Kyle Shanahan met with reporters yesterday, and he was asked, with the 49ers targeting a quarterback, will Jimmy Garoppolo be on the roster after Sunday? Take a listen.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us. When you take a rookie quarterback and you have a veteran like Jimmy, who we know we can win with, just to move on from that is something that it's not easy to do.
So don't do it. Just stop.
Classic.
All right, Mike. Shanahan making no guarantees. How should Jimmy G feel after that?
I mean, honestly, Jimmy G know what it is. Like, he can look at this situation and see everything that's unfolding around him. He's been in this position before when he was in New England and he backed up Tom and he played for 4 games and the world was calling his name and calling for Tom's head. He know what that felt like. He know what that energy felt like. And now the shoe is on the other foot. 4 years later, some injuries, some good play, some spot play in and out. Of course, things could have been better for Jimmy G and more consistent. But this is just the nature of the NFL, and that answer that Kyle Shanahan gave, it was classic. But Jimmy G has to look himself in the mirror and look at all the things that he's done right and he's done wrong. And, everybody says, accountability is the most important thing in football, especially at the quarterback position, availability. And Jimmy G hasn't been available. But for the most part, he's been consistent in his play, and I like the things that he's done. But when I was a backup quarterback when I was a starting quarterback and Andy Reid went out and drafted Nick Foles in the 3rd round and they went out and when I was in Atlanta and they drafted Matt Schaub in the 3rd, I looked at it as competition, but at the same time, keeping my competition behind me, making them better and focusing on what I could do moving forward, and that's making sure that the football team was in good hands. So that's what Jimmy G got to focus on. Focus on himself. Forget about the circus going on around him.
But Mike, come on. They didn't draft Schaub or they didn't draft Nick, Cobb in the 3rd round thinking they're going to replace Mike Vick. They didn't do that. This organization is literally saying we're drafting this guy and he's going to play. We don't know if it's going to be week 1. We don't know if it's going to be week 6. Like, they're saying that. That they're moving on. So this is a big difference. Back in the day, when we first got in the league, they would draft quarterbacks even in the 1st round, top of the 1st round, and they would sit with the expectation that they're going to sit for a year, 2 years. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He sat for a couple years now. He went, at the end of the 1st round. But things have changed now. So my question really, Nick, is like, where's Jimmy G? Because if I'm Jimmy G, I'm okay with coming in and competing. I'm okay with coming in and helping the guy develop. But when you literally tell me that I'm moving on from you this Sunday or maybe in a preseason, maybe it's week 4, then I'm going to look at the business. It's no more about team. It's no more about, the football stuff. It's about the business. What's best for me? So where's Jimmy G? I went on his Instagram account. He hasn't posted since last year. I haven't seen any, pictures of him hanging out with guys, training with guys or on the island or anywhere. I want to hear from Jimmy G,
in the lab.
Nick. That's what I want to hear. Where is he at?
Mike might be right that he's in the lab working. He's he is keeping it quiet for those next team can be excited because at this point it is about his next team. And the Atlanta comp that I would give is because I think Brandon's right. Nobody drafted Matt Schaub to replace Mike Vick. But once Mike was gone from Atlanta and Atlanta drafted Matt Ryan, guess what Matt Schaub knew? Oh, I'm out of here. And he ended up going down to the Houston Texans, I think with Kyle Shanahan as it happened. Like sometimes oh, this isn't to compete with me. This isn't to back me up. This is to replace me. And I just think the Niners have screwed up the timing of this, Wilds. Because listen, I don't think Darnold is necessarily going to work, but Carolina now has him and they have the 8th pick. I don't know if I love Wentz in Indy or not, but he's there now. I don't know if I love Goff in Detroit, but he's there now. So you look around the league and you say, other than the teams like Jacksonville and New York, the Jets that is, who are obviously taking quarterbacks at the top of the draft, who needs a quarterback? Chicago does, no matter what QB1 Instagram they put out there. New England very well might. Washington, I feel, does. And Denver does. But Denver's probably going to draft one. New England might draft one. If they don't, I feel that the Niners needed to make the move with Jimmy earlier. Because now, who is offering a first-round pick when I thought that's what he would go for? And how depressed has the market become, I think, greatly. And I think the Niners did that to themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Second-round pick for Jimmy G. And Brandon, if you're wondering where Jimmy G is, he's on Trulia looking up Foxborough real estate to come back home and lead the Patriots' brand new dynasty, bunch of free agents, bunch of opt-outs coming back in. Big old buddy Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. We are back. And I think you're 100% right, Brandon, because I know the criticism is like, oh, be a professional, be a professional. Buddy, he is being a professional. He has said nothing because God knows this thing could be ugly. He could put out a little like Russell Wilson list. Here's where I want to go. Oh, let me look at the 4 teams. New England 4 times circled. So I think he needs to get out immediately. The fact that he hasn't said anything, Brandon, means that I assume this is working behind the scenes. And the idea that he would have any success or could compete for the job, I think is out the window. We saw what happened to your boy Fitzmagic. He was winning. And like, you know what?
Right.
Spend a high draft pick on Tua. We got to put him in regardless. Maybe we'll get you in the fourth quarter a few times. But that's it. There's nothing Jimmy G can do to win this job. The guy has done a wonderful job there. Kyle Shanahan doesn't care. Talking about maybe we can't guarantee that anyone's alive on Saturday is just ridiculous. Jimmy G needs to get out of there immediately.
I disagree with you, KW. I don't think New England's an option. Why would it be? I mean, you might as well double down on Cam Newton. You have another year with him. You have an offseason. You just got some more weapons, and you're going to draft a guy. So why are you going to go get Jimmy G when you know you're going to draft a guy and he could potentially take over at the end of this year or next year? And then what's happening in San Francisco, I think they convinced Jimmy G. I don't think Jimmy G has his business cap on. Now, yeah, we don't know the things and the conversations that are happening behind the scenes, but everything that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan is saying, I actually applaud, because they're transparent or being real, and that's what a player wants. Like, give me the truth. If you don't think I'm a baller, tell me I'm not a baller. If you think I'm injury prone, then tell me that. That's what players want. There's too many times, Jenna, where these general managers and these coaches, they talk around you. And so I think it's time for Jimmy G to put his business cap on because they convinced this dude that he can come in and lead the way, and if you stay healthy, you can continue to be our quarterback. But when you draft a guy at 3, it's over. So Jimmy G needs to put his business cap on, Mike.
Here's the situation with Jimmy G. 1, he's already got paid. He's already got his money. 2, Jimmy G can play. He can play the game of football. He understands the ins and outs of any offense that he's played in. So he has potential that I think still is untapped, and he can go elsewhere. Or even if he stays in San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan said it in his presser, we can win with a guy like Jimmy G on Sundays. That he's confident in. Moving forward, it all remains to be seen if it's a guy who's going to take over. But when a move like this happens, and when there's this type of jogging taking place, it's to get his attention. It's to say, look, we're bringing in a young guy. Get yourself together. Get on the field. Get healthy. Play for us. Earn your money. Take us to the playoffs or the Super Bowl possibly like you did a couple years ago. And that's what Jimmy G's facing right now.
Back here, first things first, and we are talking about the NFL Draft coming up Thursday night. So North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance, right smack in the conversation at number 3 for the Niners, had a tremendous 2019 at North Dakota State, 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, on his way to hearing his name being called in round 1 of the draft at the top there. Trey Lance is joining us now. Trey, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us today. Let me start with this. What are you thinking? What are you feeling 2 days before the NFL draft? I'm sure you've heard and read just about everything out there. Now it's just you and your thoughts for the next 2 days. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, just excited to know where I'm going to be at. Excited to, have teammates in an organization that wants me and fell in love with me enough to pick me. But yeah, at this point, there aren't really too many nerves, just excited for the opportunity.
All right, let me take care of some housekeeping things real quick before we jump into this conversation a little deeper. Look, Trey, I'm salty. I'm still salty that you didn't come down here and train with me. In November, you, Quincy, I think Justin Fields, all you guys came in. Y'all spent some time with us. You said, yo, we're going to be training with you. Then all of a sudden, you guys get missing. So you could, if you would have trained with me, Trey, I would have called Woody, and we would be going to, the New York Jets off the number 2 pick. Now you gotta settle for the 3rd pick. Now you gotta go to the Bay. Now you gotta go deal with Coach Shanahan, who I love, but you gotta go out there on the West Coast. So I had to get that off my chest, man. You didn't train with me.
It's all love. No love lost. It's just we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna be out there eventually.
All right. So let me ask my question. After hearing Coach Shanahan's comments yesterday, we listened to the whole press conference. It was like 33 minutes. And I'm convinced, man, that you're going to land at the 3 spot. What are you hearing? Where do you want to go?
Like I said earlier, man, just looking for an opportunity. You've been in this position. At this point, it kind of, I put myself in a position, kind of set myself up for success. I'm satisfied with the position I put myself into this point. So there's not really, it's not like there's ever going to be a disappointing situation, especially the position I play in, the situation I'm in right now. I feel like I put myself in a great position. So at this point, just excited to see where it's going to be. And at this point, I don't know. I probably know just as much as you, if not less. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, man, just blessed and looking forward to it.
All right, Trey, I need you to help me with something because I'm a numbers guy, but I'm a weird numbers guy. Sometimes numbers are so good, they actually worry me. So, like, I heard last year in the NBA, people were like, the Mavericks have the best offense ever. And I'm like, well, no, they don't. Like, no, that's actually not right, even though they did. And I was like, no, that concerns me, actually. I would feel a little better if in 2019 you had 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The fact that you had no interceptions, I'm like, how's the okay? Like, I don't like it. So that does make me a little concerned that it's like, wait, was he just simply better than everybody out there? How much of a hurdle do you think the competition level? It's a hurdle for everyone, college to pro, from D2 college to pro, it's even more so. How big of a concern is that for you personally?
It's really not for me. I feel like obviously, yes, I was talented for the FCS level, but I think, I would have been talented at the FCS level as well. But I think just guys that have came in and played well as they have, Carson, for example. Obviously, that's, my go-to, for example, for this situation because it's a perfect situation. He came out and played as well as he did his rookie year. And that doesn't just happen, like he played FCS football, yes, but that's really good football, one, as well as obviously it can be done. And the level of competition isn't something that I really worry about. Like you said, it's faster for everyone, so it'll be a ton of fun.
Trey, fair or unfair, all of the draft quarterbacks get a certain narrative label tagged to them. Like Trevor Lawrence is going to be this generation quarterback that'll be ready to start right away. Mac Jones, he's a good quarterback, won the national championship, but doesn't have a super high ceiling. This is not me. This is just the general narrative. Your general tag narrative is highest potential to the point where like no one knows how good you can be. Just highest potential, highest ceiling. You want a superstar, you get Trey Lance. How good, well, I'll ask 2 questions. 1, do you think that's fair that you have the highest potential? And 2, how good do you think you can be?
Yeah, obviously I believe in myself at this point. Otherwise I wouldn't be, in the situation, the position I'm in right now. But, man, I want the best for all these guys. Yes, we're kind of competing and will be competing against each other, but at the same time, from a quarterback standpoint, I want all the guys to do well, and I can't really speak on, obviously, the future, what's going to happen, but just excited to get to an opportunity, to show what I got and have this opportunity to, kind of live out my dreams and take this next step.
So, Trey, listen, let's stay right here, all right? When I was coming out, I think there was around 13 wide receivers that went before me. And I'm not trying to be messy. I'm not trying to create a headline, but I want you to be confident. I'm not trying to. I don't want to hear anything cocky. But when I looked at my draft class, there was 3 wide receivers that I said are better than me. And I was a kid coming from UCF before UCF is what it was, or what it became. There was Greg Jennings, wide receiver, phenomenal career, started in Green Bay. There was Chad Jackson, went to New England. Kevin Wild's team didn't have a phenomenal start, didn't have a phenomenal career. And then there was Santonio Holmes. So as athletes, we stack ourselves up against the field. So when you see Trevor Lawrence and you see Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and all these other guys that they're talking about, where do you think you stack up? And I'm not trying to get messy here. I just want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the best quarterback in the class, and I'm excited to prove that, get to an opportunity,
Boom, I got it. You took the bait.
To prove it. I know you wanted it, but, I mean, those guys would say the same thing back then, and I do that.
And they should say the same thing. Good for you.
Yeah.
No, that's great. No, that's exactly, I'm not trying to get messy, but no, that's exactly what these teams want to hear. I mean, we've seen you. Everything pops on tape. We hear about you in the classroom and in the film study and how, you're brilliant there. This whole thing about experience and where you play, I think is obnoxious. There's a lot of great talent, in all sports that come from small schools. So I'm excited to see where you land. So Nick, to me, all this conversation around, he doesn't have the experience, or look at Trevor Lawrence and all these other guys, it's just nonsense.
Well, and by the way, he didn't go quite as far as Kyle Pitts went. He didn't say, I think I'm going to be the greatest quarterback ever. Pitts, everyone loves him. He's like, I'm going to be the greatest tight end in the history of tight ends. So listen, and you don't get to where you are without having a deep foundational belief in yourself. I've got 2 questions for you, and they're dissimilar, so I'll do them one at a time. First one is this. For people that haven't seen you, is there a quarterback stylistically currently in the NFL, or even a former NFL quarterback, that you have heard from people, you remind me most of him? Is there a guy?
I really don't like putting myself in this box, because the guys that I've heard in those names are guys that have been playing and have played really, really well in the NFL for a long time. But like stylistically, I guess Russell Wilson or more of a Deshaun. But different at the same time. Those guys have obviously proved themselves, established themselves in the league. So I don't like, putting myself in that box.
And then last one, have you had, sorry, Jenna, I'm just going to jump in real quick. My apologies, Jenna. Have you had how do I phrase this? The people closest to you, your family, is there a team that they are hoping for? I know you're going to succeed anywhere. You're good with anywhere. But do you have somebody close to you that's like, man, we really hope you go to this team because of this?
I mean, I got friends that are fans of dang near every team, especially in college. But my family, for one, is just excited for me to have an opportunity. They're kind of the same mindset as me. It's not like there's going to be a disappointing situation. So just looking forward to finding out where that's at.
Trey, these guys tried to get you. They tried to put you in a box every which way they could. You did a great job wiggling your way in and out. You are ready for the pros. Don't let anyone tell you differently. You're ready for the limelight of the NFL.
He's ready.
I know he is ready. I know you're here on behalf of Sleep Number. Tell us a little bit about your partnership with them.
Yeah, I was super excited to partner with Sleep Number. It was honestly perfect for me, just because I've understood for a long time how important sleep is for my recovery, not only as an athlete, but just as a human being. My Sleep Number, my 360 smart bed has kind of changed the way and been able to elevate my game and my sleep just with the way I recover. And it's been a game changer for me.
It's so true.
Love
Trey,
it. All right, Trey, appreciate you.
Enjoy the next 48 hours. They're going to be fun, and then your life will change forever Thursday night. We thank you so much for your time this morning. Much appreciated, and good luck to you.
Hope you're great anywhere but Denver, Trey. It'll be great. Just not Denver.
Text me if you want to go to New York. Text me if you want to go to New York. The Jets, okay? Let me know. I'll call Woody.
Okay, that's the ship sail. That's your side. Thanks, Trey. See you, man.
Thank you very much, Trey. All right, we got to take a little turn. Nick's got to get ready, talk some basketball. He's got some medals to hand out. One of them isn't somehow going to Devin Booker, despite 33 points last night, despite a good win over the very good, recently good Knicks team, but didn't make it. So, Nick, who did it better than Book?
Okay, well, one of his teammates gets the bronze medalist. Hey, there's an actual MVP candidate playing in that game. His name's Chris Paul. Not Julius Randle, Chris Paul. You might say 25-6. That gets you a medal. If you watch the game, it did. Chris Paul totally took over down the stretch. And look at that. Oh, my goodness, the point guard with a bronze medal. Silver medalist, Bradley Beal. The Wizards' winning streak snapped at 9. But he scored 45. Yeah. How about this for an insane stat that I read this morning? The Wizards have never had a 10-game winning streak. Ever. Not the Wizards, not the Bullets, never in their franchise. They were a game away in overtime, and they don't get it. Yep. By the way, since then, the Spurs have done it 22 times. The Spurs end their 9-game winning streak. And gold medalist, DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, one of the most well-liked players in the NBA, just humbly and quietly doing his thing in San Antonio. Might pull him into the playoffs, 37-10, and an overtime win over the Wizards. If you were watching this game, he misses the game winner at the end of regulation. Does not let it deter him. They go on to win in overtime. So DeMar DeRozan gets the gold medal. There is the medal stand, the podium for last night in the NBA, Brandon.
Oh, you got
I love it, man.
Brandon.
Yeah, he did a great job. Forget the medals. I'm just like in awe with the stat that they were 1 game away from getting their first 10-win streak in the franchise. Like, come on, that's brutal. Oh, that's brutal.
What a big game from Bradley Beal.
Not a great history.
All right, who just missed the cut, Wilds?
Oh, Kevin Love, not one of the superstar plays here. He's an NBA champion, and believe it or not, he is still on the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're like, are you sure? Are you sure he wasn't part of the Andre Drummond deal? Like, yep, I'm sure. That's Kevin Love right there on the baseline playing volleyball. And I know he plays volleyball in the summer down in Santa Monica. You're not supposed to play it in Cleveland. He is not into this team anymore. Cleveland loses again. Surprise, surprise. Kevin Love's still on the team.
Yeah,
wow,
2 more years,
me up.
$60 million left. 2 more after this, Jeff.
San Francisco 49ers, what are their plans with the number 3 pick? Will Thursday's draft signal the end of the Jimmy G era in San Fran? Have the next for you. First things first.
Wilds love's going to be a great Laker.
Terry Bradshaw and Fox Super 6 are giving away $5,000 for each day of the NFL draft this week. How about that? One of the day one contest questions is, who will draft wide receiver Devontae Smith? The options are the Giants, the Lions, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Patriots, or other. Brandon, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they grade these guys a little differently. They have a lot of respect for the guys that stayed and played and didn't opt out. So, I'm going to go with Devontae Smith going to the Miami Dolphins because they love this kid and they also respect that he played.
All right, so I'm going to go with Philly. But, Jenna, I'm gravely disappointed. This was the Super 6 contest that 1 year ago I won. And you failed to mention that to the audience. It's on the record. I gave out all 6 picks. So you keep saying that. It makes me so mad.
And
it's our shows on television. I gave out all 6 picks on the air. I got them all right. Now, do I have the receipt of the money? I'm still tied up in litigation with Terry personally because he's like, oh, you're an employee, you can't do it. And I'm like, pay me my damn money, old man, and the whole thing. But fact of the matter is, I won this last year. So the answer is Philly, Wilds. Go ahead.
Listen to him, America.
Jenna, my answer is Detroit. I think it'd be a great fit with Goff, and I want to see Goff get another chance to sort of have a big weapon to throw to. I also know that there's concerns about his weight. He weighed in at 166. So perhaps if he hooks up with Detroit's nutritionist and Dan Campbell, who suggests eating kneecaps before the game, can also help.
I knew it was coming. Never has Kevin Wilds been so fired up about a newly minted head coach's press conference than Campbell's. Download the Fox Super 6 app. Play for free. For your shot to win, make sure you tune into NFL Network for round 1, Thursday, 8 Eastern, to follow along live. All right, gentlemen, time now for stories to start your morning, brought to you by Subway. We are 2 days away from the aforementioned NFL draft. Biggest question mark remains the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they spent a ton of capital to move up to that 3 spot to draft a quarterback, seemingly their quarterback of the future. Perplexing since quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the roster. Take a listen to what Shanahan had to say yesterday.
We made a decision in this process that we felt we needed to get a starting quarterback this year and add that to our team. And when we sit there at 12 way back in the day, and we wanted to dictate it. And we also were worried maybe the one we end up winning doesn't fall to 12. When we made this decision, we knew that there were 5 guys that we felt that we'd be okay with taking. We knew that there was 3 at the time exactly. That's why we thought 3 was a good spot to go to. After going through this whole process, I feel good about 5 guys at 3. Do we know exactly who we want? Maybe, probably, but maybe not. I don't feel like we need to say that.
Can you say with certainty that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the roster on Sunday?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us. When you take a rookie quarterback and you have a veteran like Jimmy, who we know we can win with, just to move on from that is something that it's not easy to do.
Well, I certainly hope I'm around Sunday so that we can talk about Shanahan's comments today and Monday.
Right.
Nick, what do you make of what he had to say?
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, they know who they're taking, and they've known who they're taking for quite some time. Maybe we're comfortable with 5 guys, fine, but define comfortable. But when you traded up, you knew Lawrence and Wilson were gone, and there was one guy you were concerned was not going to be there at 12, was not going to be there at 6, and you traded all the way to 3 to make sure you got him. And I do think that it is instructive to look into this team's draft history under this regime. Now, they have some undeniable hits. They drafted George Kittle in the Lynch-Shanahan first draft together in the 5th round. They got Fred Warner, who's awesome in the 3rd round. Nicky Bosa was a no-brainer. They took 2nd overall. But also, that first draft they had together, and I tweeted out the article. Peter King was in the draft room, the war room with them, and gave a great blow-by-blow of it. They had the number 2 pick. They traded back with Chicago so Chicago could take Trubisky. They could have taken Deshaun. They could have taken Mahomes. Instead, they took Solomon Thomas with the 3rd pick. He's no longer on the team. They were going to take Reuben Foster with the 3rd pick if Solomon Thomas wasn't there. Instead, they traded back into the 1st round to get Reuben Foster. He's no longer in the league. They did draft a quarterback that year in the 3rd round. According to Peter King, the only quarterback in that draft Shanahan liked. His name was C.J. Beathard. He was a projected 6th or 7th round pick, and he is now no longer with the team. So, Brandon, everyone trusts Kyle Shanahan's ability to work with quarterbacks. I think there's questions about his taste in quarterbacks and about whether or not he's got the sense of who is going to work. Because before they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, they were sitting in a draft with Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And they decided, no, don't need any of that. We'll run with Hoyer and Beathard. Right. So I think they know who they're taking. I think they're probably taking Mac Jones at this point. They've convinced me. Ooh. But I don't know if that's going to end up aging well.
No, listen, Nick, the entire press conference, what was it, 30-something minutes? It was entertaining and revealing. Mm-hmm. One of the first things he said is, we moved from 12 to 3 to get a starting quarterback. So that was something that jumped out to me. Well, didn't you say a month ago that Jimmy G is our guy and we're going to stick with him, this year? That's what you said. But when you say starting quarterback, that means whoever you draft at that 3 spot is going to be somebody that's going to come in and play now. A couple things jumped out as well. Some more things. What else? Well, him talking about the guys that they liked. There was 3 guys initially. Then it moved to 5. Well, those 3, everybody knew who the 3 was. It was Zach Wilson. It was Trevor Lawrence, and it was Justin Fields. But now we're talking about Justin Fields sliding. Well, if Justin Fields is sliding, guess who's going to be that 3? Be there at 3. We're talking about Trey Lance, the guy that we just had, Wilds. I'm telling you right now, the Mac Jones thing, it's real. I think they went through their process. I respect their process of sitting down with guys and evaluating guys, you know, watching the film, going out to practice. You got pro day. You sit down and you go through testing. But I think Trey Lance, this is real. I think that, you know, we're going to see on draft night Trey Lance go at the 3 spot to San Francisco, Wilds.
Okay, Brandon, you know how you said the press conference was entertaining? Do you think it was supposed to be? Because I don't. I think they should have ran it like Bill Belichick ran his press conference. Did a half-hour press conference. We didn't even run any sound of it. You know why? Because he didn't say anything. And you know what? You don't have to. It's not Reservoir Dogs. No one's forcing you to talk. You don't have to say, like, I don't even know if people will be alive. And then Dusty is texting me. He's like, well, he was asked that question 4 times. Oh, my goodness. Well, if he was asked 4 times, certainly he would have to call in to everyone's mortality to talk about you can't predict the future. Give me a break. This thing was totally ridiculous. It gives me no confidence that they know what they're doing. Nick, I don't think it's shrewdness. I think it's confusion masquerading as smarts. And here's the thing I also think. A boat with 2 captains has none. You cannot convince me after watching that press conference that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan totally agree on this pick.
Well, and John Lynch told you as much. And I don't know if we have time to play the sound, but John Lynch, well, we do have time to play the sound. Here's John Lynch essentially saying, folks, this whole 3rd overall pick, that's right. I know I'm the GM, but it ain't my pick, America. Listen to him.
I told Kyle from the beginning that he and I are doing this together. And when it comes to quarterbacks, I'd be foolish, I believe. We have a head coach who's also our offensive play caller. I will always defer to him. And, you know, what's cool about that is that Kyle, I think, respects my opinion enough. He always wants it.
Listen, I know that we've all been taught over the last year to wash our hands thoroughly. That doesn't mean you want your GM washing his hands of 3 first-round picks, which is what you traded for in this pick. Right. So to me, John Lynch is making it pretty clear Kyle needs a specific quarterback, and I'm going to trust him even if I'm anxious about it, which is why, Brandon, I think, even though I think it's pretty clear Mac Jones should be the 5th of these 5 quarterbacks taken, and even behind Kellen Mond when it's all said and done. But of the reporting was Mac Jones because of Kyle's affinity for him. And to me, Brandon, that was John Lynch saying, this is Kyle's pick. Kyle is making this pick. Give him the success or the blame.
Well, I don't think it's divisive. I disagree with you, Wilds. I think these guys are on the same page. The Shanahans is the reason why John Lynch has the job now. John Lynch reached out and said, hey, if there's anything I can do, buddy, let me know. You got to think about it. Do you want to come into an organization like this with a general manager that's going to make all the decisions, or someone that you can potentially control? I think Trey Lance is the pick because he said something also revealing. He said, if you love who we were going to pick at 12, then you should love him at 3. And that means that's somebody that's going to take a shot on.
We've got to go.